I wanted to give the floor now to Leilani, our special rapporteur for the United Nations on adequate housing, a very important ally of local governments in terms of ensuring that we protect the right to housing for all. Leilani, if you listen to all of these inputs from different parts of the world, from these different continents, what are some of the main reflections that come to mind? And as you might have seen, almost all of them have been talking about those that do not have a home to stay back into.
Yes, thank you so much, Amelia, for letting me take the floor. I am here in Ottawa, Canada, in self-isolation because I traveled to the US about 11 days ago. And so that's my situation. And of course, my city is in a kind of lockdown situation as of midnight yesterday. First of all, I want to say to all of you, I am sitting here in complete solidarity with you. I admire all of your work and all of your efforts. This is, as we have all said, unprecedented, harrowing, traumatic, and very, very difficult circumstances for cities across the world. One of the things that's so obvious, I think, and has been obvious from your comments, is that the pandemic has exposed the incredible stress all of our housing systems are under. It has exposed the global housing crisis that I've been talking about for the past 6 years. When governments are imposing, as they need to, stay-at-home policies or rest-in-place policies, it exposes that people living in homelessness can't do that. It exposes that people in informal settlements and in grossly inadequate housing have no access to sanitation and water to keep their hands clean and keep the spread. They don't have enough space for physical distancing. It exposes that so many households are living in unaffordable conditions, and with one less paycheck, they can lose their housing, or they can fall into arrears and then be subject to eviction or lose their housing. But at the same time, the pandemic is showing to me that governments can be very responsive to these housing conditions. It's amazing what we're seeing around the world. Suddenly, governments are able to find places and spaces for people living in homelessness. Suddenly, we're able to provide water and sanitation to informal settlements that never had it before. Suddenly, we're giving rent abatement and allowing people to not pay their mortgages or lessen their mortgage payments. Suddenly, this is all possible. Suddenly, we're saying no evictions of anyone, anywhere, for any reason. So for me, that's a crazy silver lining of this crazy pandemic. I just want to end by saying I completely agree that what we do now is laying the foundation for the future. There is absolutely no doubt about it. I don't think we can go from a place, I think politically we can't go from a place of now housing all homeless people, and then at the end of the pandemic saying, ciao, go back to the streets. I think that's impossible. I think we're going to end global homelessness. Really, I think we will through this pandemic, or we could. I think that we can end the grossly inadequate conditions in informal settlements. We can say, okay, now every informal settlement must have access to water, sanitation, electricity, adequate space, and security of tenure. So what we do now is building for the future, and must build for the future, and a future where adequate, affordable, and secure housing is available to everyone. Because now we know like we never knew before, that housing is absolutely, and adequate housing is absolutely a matter of life and death. So I'll leave my comments there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Leilani. And so that you are aware, we are planning to propose a specific session on the issue of housing with this group. I think it's next week or the one next to that. So we'll count with your team also to see how we structure that discussion, because I think the aftermath of this needs to help us solve that cruciating issue. And